We just passed the halfway mark of 2026, and if you are not on track to hit any of the goals that you set out at the beginning of the year, now is the time to lock in. So in today's video, I'm gonna be giving you the recipe. I'm gonna be the chef that's gonna help you gather all the ingredients that you need so you can ensure that you get yourself back on track to meet your goals by the end of the year. The very first thing that we're gonna do is we're just gonna acknowledge, yes, we are halfway through the year. And no, we're not on track to hit our goals, but we're not gonna make any excuses. It's nobody else's fault but our own for why we're in the position that we're in right now. If you've watched any of my previous content, then you know that I'm all about taking personal accountability and worrying about results. We don't worry about all the outside factors that we can't control. We worry about the controllables. And I believe that we are in control of our futures. And it's nobody else's responsibility to make sure that we hit the goals that we set out for ourselves. I believe that that separates those that succeed and those that just talk about success. So as part of acknowledging where we stand right now based on where we want to be, we're just going to reassess where everything is. Maybe we started off and we got a portion of the way through completing our goals, but something happened. We lost a job. We had to move. Life happens. I completely understand that. But we're just going to reassess where we currently stand, and we're going to figure out, are the goals that we set out at the beginning of the year still the things that are important to us? So what typically happens is we set our goal at the top of the year. It usually comes in the form of a New Year's resolution. And that's what we think is important at that particular time. But generally what happens is as the year progresses and goes on, things change, our priorities change, and we need to make sure that our goals still align with what's important to us. Then we're gonna take a look at our financial health. I talk a lot about that on this channel. This is a finance, wealth building, budgeting channel, and it is the bedrock of everything that we do. You can't build a house without a solid foundation, and you cannot build out your financial house if you don't have a strong foundation, which is ultimately your budget. Now, there's a lot of people out there that make things so difficult when it comes to budgeting. But I'm gonna try to simplify this for you because it really shouldn't be that hard. If you're in debt, the number one thing that you should be focusing on is how to get out of it as quickly as possible. And this is where you have to really lock in and understand that when you're in debt pay down mode, your life is not gonna be how it has been up to that point, because you're gonna be focusing on something completely different than you ever have at any point in your life. But we can make this very simple. When we get our paychecks, we don't have to go through and make these elaborate budgets. We can simply say, look, take out 5 to 10%, no more than 10% if you're in debt pay down mode. And that's the money that we're gonna spend on whatever we wanna do. We wanna go out to eat, we wanna go to the movies, we wanna go out and have a couple of drinks once or twice a month. That 5 or 10% is allocated specifically for that. Then we're gonna allocate the money that we have just to live, our rent, our utilities, our food. You shouldn't have a car payment if you're in debt, but if you have a car payment, that's your car payment. And then the rest of the money that you have left over goes towards paying off your debt. And now I lost a lot of people right there. I know that I lost so many people with that concept. But if you're really serious about changing the direction of your financial future, you have to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. I'm gonna say that one more time. If you are really interested in changing the direction of your financial future, you have to be willing to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gain. Now that we're locked in with our very simple budget, and we know that we have that 5 or 10% of our monthly income that we can spend on whatever we want, now we're gonna take that to the next level, and we're gonna set up automation. We're gonna automate as much as we can throughout our life. We're gonna automate our bill paying, we're gonna automate our investing, we're gonna automate our 401k investing. Every part of our lives that we can automate, we're gonna set up at this step. I'm gonna tell you why you're gonna do that, because once you set up automation, when it comes to bill paying, investing, it automatically does it for you. You don't have to do anything about it. And more importantly, you're not gonna have an excuse of why you couldn't invest. Because what often happens is you say, look, I got my game plan in place. Clarence, you're right. I'm gonna start investing $100 every single month. Ultimately, what ends up happening is you may have a month where you have to move some things around from a financial perspective, and then you'll start to make deals with yourself. You know what? I can't invest that $100 this month. I'll make up and I'll invest that $200 next month. And usually that doesn't happen. So when you set up the automation, it's automatically going to do it for you, just like your 401k, just like the taxes that come out of your account. You know you make $30 an hour, but you also understand you're not going to see that because the taxes are going to come out before it actually hits your account. And when you set up your automation, it's set up to do the same thing. If you're investing every single month, you have that automatically coming out of your account. You start to not account for that money being there. And then after a while, it just becomes normalized. Automation is a game changer. So we've got our automation set up. We're paying down debt. We're starting to invest. And we're always going to have that person that's going to say, Clarence, you know what? $100 a month, that's not going to do anything. $200 a month, that's not going to do anything. I'm not going to be able to build wealth like that. It doesn't work that way. And I always tell people, look, investing is a long-term commitment, especially if you're looking to build some real lasting wealth. And it's the hardest in the beginning because it's the slowest. So one of the things that I did to illustrate this is I started a $100,000 portfolio builder challenge right here on this channel back on January 1st of 2024, where I started taking little bits of money, investing it into a portfolio, and then I get on here and I go over the results with you guys periodically on each of the investments. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at what is investing $100 a month over a long period of time actually do for you. And then we'll also take a look at what does investing $500 a month do as well. We're going to be taking a look at VOO. VOO is one of my favorite investments to invest in. And we're going to be looking at a 10-year investment period. And over the last 10 years, VOO has had an average return of 15.6%. So that's the number that we're going to use. So we're going to take a look here and we're going to start out with $0 here. So we're going to have zero. And then we're going to have a 10-year period and the return is 15.6% because that's what VOO has averaged over the last 10 years. We have a $100 contribution at the end of every single month, just to make this pretty easy. We're going to calculate that. And over a 10-year period, we'll have $26,836. Year over year, you'll start to see how much does compound interest take over and start to accelerate your account. Now, true, $100 every single month is not going to make you rich. But again, it's not about the investing the $100. It's about building that investment muscle, building that investment habit that will allow you to invest more money as you actually start to get out of debt and find more money to invest. Now we're going to take a look at a $500 a month investment. And what does that look like over a 10-year period? So same $0, and let's put $500 in. So at $500, that's $134,183 over a 10-year period by investing $500 every single month into the market. I know a lot of people will say, I don't have $500 to invest, but I'm just showing you that if you deploy the majority of your capital into an investment account, as instead of paying $500 a month for a car that you don't need, then this is the type of results that you can expect to see. So that is why I'm doing the $100,000 portfolio challenge. So I can illustrate to people that yes, it starts off slow when you're investing. You might only be able to start with $50 a month, and then you can get to 100, then 250, then 500. And over a long period of time, your account starts to accumulate and grow at a really fast rate. So the last thing that we're gonna do to make sure that our goal setting is nice and tight is we're gonna use what's called the KISS principle. And everything that we do from this point forward, we're gonna use this filter to determine whether or not we should be moving forward with things. And that is essentially keep it simple, stupid. It sounds pretty funny, and it was funny when I first heard it, but we have this tendency to overcomplicate all the goals that we want to achieve. But if you really keep it simple, right? Investing $100 a month in the VOO, which tracks the S&P 500. You don't have to be a day trader. You don't have to understand what EBITDA is. You don't have to listen to investor and earning calls. You can just put your money into the market, let it do its thing, and just continue about your day, right? It's all about keeping things as simple as possible because we don't have to overcomplicate everything in our life. All right, guys, so we are halfway through the year and we are not making excuses for why we are not on track to hit our goals. We understand, we're taking accountability. We understand where we currently are at. We're gonna reassess our current position and we're gonna lock in for the rest of 2026.